G'day guys, CJ here and you are listening to Heavy Magazine. Today I am joined by two members of Sly Withers. Guys, if you can introduce yourselves and what you play in the band, that'd be much appreciated.
Hello,
Hey,
I'm Jono. Oh, same time.
look at us. Look at us. Buddies talking over each other. Do you want to go first, Johnny? You go
No,
first.
you go. You go.
Thank you, man. My name's Sam. I play guitar and I sing in the band Sly Withers.
I'm Jono, and I play the other guitar in Sly Withers and also sing some songs.
Awesome, gentlemen. Well, thank you so much for your time today. We're here to talk about some pretty big things that have been in the woodworks for a long time. Firstly, the new thing that we're here to talk about is you guys have a new album called Overgrown, which is due to kind of be released on October 28th. How's the process been leading up to this one, gentlemen?
I'm just sort of in that phase of being extremely excited for it to be out in the world, and very busy with last minute things to tick off and so that everything goes smoothly. But yeah, very excited.
Right,
Yeah, super, super, super excited.
It's because it's been a while. Because the last album that you guys dropped was called Gardens, and that dropped last year. Obviously, it's a pretty quick follow-up album that you guys have done within the span of a year. So after you guys dropped albums, I saw you guys got a really overwhelming, like, positive response and all of that. So what was the decision to go straight back into another album after that? What was the process with that?
Yeah, I think we were just keen to kind of follow it up quickly and get some more music out there as soon as we can. We're kind of lucky in the sense that having a couple of songwriters in the band, it kind of takes half as long to write an album sometimes.
Yeah.
So it kind of makes sense to kind of like, yeah, keep pushing stuff out. Cause like, yeah, we were speaking in an interview yesterday and it came up like how it's been too long since we released new music. And the interviewer was like, oh, but it's only been a year. And then we made the point that I think for us, any amount of time is too long between new music. You know, people like hearing new stuff, and we like giving them new stuff. So yeah, it was important for us to kind of push it as quickly as we could, and I think we did a pretty good job with not compromising on the quality for it in the end. But yeah.
Yeah, speaking of the devil, with the new album coming from only having a year to release, obviously there's going to be changes in your songs. Like, what have you guys decided from your last release to this one? Were there any decisions or conscious decisions to take it in a certain direction or to not do certain things, or?
I think one of the sort of broader mission statements we had going into this one was that definitely we wanted things to sound like lush and prettier when they in those sections they did in the last time. And yeah, really just sort of, we were very ambitious with this one. And I think brave was the word that we used in terms of like following those ideas to conclusions that we wouldn't normally get to. And our producer, Dave Parkin, was like really on board and really good at getting us out of our own way and really getting the most out of us and on each track. So I think there'll be some surprises in there for people.
Oh, that's awesome. So, you just said the word surprises. What can you give away with surprises, and what can't you give away?
Oh, Sam.
I think we can give away all of it, right? There's
Yeah.
some curveballs. It's like there's a little bit of synth for the first time on some Sly stuff, just some little textures and stuff. There's strings. Our friend Clancy Davidson, who plays in Smallfish and in Noah Dillon's band, played all those. That was a really awesome thing. And there's a song that has timpani on it. And it's
Ooh.
hotly debated as to whether you can hear the timpani for what it is or whether it just sounds like part of the kind of wall of sound going on. But I feel like you can
Challenge
hear it. But
accepted.
yeah, one of the songs has that Coldplay spec, so keep an eye out.
Nice. Well, speaking of Coldplay as well, actually, I know off your last release, you guys did a version for Triple J, which was actually the Coldplay song, "The Scientist." Obviously, that's no mean feat to be able to go and do that. But how was it going into that? Where you're like, well, we've got to take this very well known song. How are we going to shift it into our own? How did that process go for you guys?
I think the process of like actually figuring out how we were going to do the song happened like pretty organically, just from the way that we all learned it individually. And when we came back to do it in a rehearsal room, that was sort of just like the vibe that it ended up being. And it was sort of, I guess you'd say, lucky in the sense that it's such a well-known song, but it's such a such a simple song in how it works that you don't really need to push it that far for it to get that little switch in there and be a little different from the original. So yeah, I think it was more about keeping it simple in how we approached it and not trying to go over the top with the changes that we made, which I think paid off in the end.
Definitely, I would 100% agree. I did have a listen to it, and then yeah, it was amazing, guys. So pat yourselves on the back, metaphorical or
Thanks,
physical.
mate.
But on top of that too, very recently you guys have dropped a single. You've dropped two singles actually. In regards to this album coming up as well, what has the response been to those two singles for you guys?
Yeah, it's been great. It's always good to have new stuff out there, as we were saying before. Yeah, it's awesome. We've got such a beautiful fan base, and we've got such a lovely crew of people like around us, whether it's peers or fans that are just super supportive. And yeah, it's lovely. It's always nice to put out new music. It's always a little nerve wracking, but that kind of comes with the lay of the land with art, I reckon. So
Definitely.
yeah, we're lucky boys.
Yeah, honestly, no, I think you guys are playing your cards right, like with everything that you guys have been moving forward with. So, speaking of the devil, the album's out, and then you guys are embarking on a ridiculous amount of dates coming up for the Overgrown tour for 2022. So I'm just going to get these dates up in front of me. So I'm going to do a bit of a plug here for all these dates. So you've got Friday the 4th of November at the Gov in Adelaide. You have Thursday the 10th of November at the UC Hub in Canberra. You have Friday the 11th of November at Metro Theatre Sydney. Saturday, November 12th at the Princess Theatre in Brisbane. Friday the 18th of November, the Northcote Theatre in Melbourne. Saturday the 19th of November, the Unibar in Hobart. And Saturday the 26th of November at the Darwin Railway Club in Darwin. So it's a monstrous tour where you guys are hitting up basically every major city in Australia. From previous tours to where you are with this one, what's different with this one and what's staying the same with it?
This is a sort of, I guess, definitely the biggest headline shows that we'll have done. So it's a little scary, very exciting, and a little scary going into those theaters and doing that. And I think I think we're going to have a bit more of a think going into it about what the production for those shows is going to look like and how we're going to do things differently, and hopefully get a bit more out of the live show than we have in the past, where it's just been us playing the songs and the audience being there. Whereas this time, I think we're a bit more focused on the visual aspect of what we can do and how we can tie all that in together.
Right.
Yeah, in terms of, we love doing the full lap. So
definitely.
Very excited to get back to everyone.
It's a grueling process to do it, but it's so rewarding at the same time. So for people that haven't seen your live show before, how would you describe your live show?
Ooh.
That's a tricky one. The band Sly Withers performing songs by the band Sly Withers is the easy answer. Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of I think that's kind of the thing here, is that we've often just it's been us playing the songs, and this time we're kind of consciously going in with a little bit more, as Johnny said, a little bit more deliberate thought into the kind of whole package of the live show. So for example, lighting is the biggest thing we're looking into on this run that's different to any other run we've ever done. We've never really worked with a lighting tech other than just the in-house venue techs, whereas this time we're putting a little bit more into kind of sussing more custom fitted us setup, making things a little bit speckier. But yeah, normally it's just couple fun sing-alongs, couple of guitar chords, bit of awkward stage banter. Sometimes I give the crowd celery. I did that in Sydney and it went down a treat. Sydney loved the celery on that night, right, Johnny?
The one time.
So celery, did you give them peanut butter at least to go with it, or?
No, I just before we went on stage,
Didn't even give them peanut butter.
I just brought a little snack pack from the green room out. I got a little cup and filled it with some of the veggie sticks from our Ryder platter. And I just had a little snack on stage, and then someone saw me eating it, asked for some, so I threw him some. And then I think I started throwing more. I may have had a couple beers. That may have been the main the main kind of crux of the issue. But yeah,
Well, man, at least it's a healthy treat for people. You know, it's not like you're handing out candy bars or anything sus like that.
exactly.
You know, so I'm glad that
And it's got a
runs well.
high water content, so it's like it's hydration as well. So like, you know, we're looking out for the health and safety of all involved.
Add the vitamins and minerals, man. You guys are all about health for these shows coming up. So you know, will we expect to see celery on this tour? Is the big question.
We'll have to wait and see on that one, I reckon.
Yeah, it's kind of like a see how the night feels, you know.
Yeah. See if anyone lets me anywhere near celery ever again.
All right, well, gentlemen, I got to thank you for your time, but there's one more question I always end my interviews on, and I'm glad I could give you guys a bit of a heads up. But if there is any show that you guys have played personally in the past for whatever reason, what show would you go back and play for whatever reason and why?
I think I have one. Johnny, do you want me to go first?
Yep, I have one as well,
Cool.
but you go.
No, sorry. I was going to say the Perth show on the Gardens tour last year at the Recordbite in Perth. At the time, I think it was the biggest show we'd played to date, the biggest headliner. It was like 800 people at this really beautiful room in Perth with all these balconies and stuff. And our manager and some friends worked real hard on like collecting a bunch of like tree branches, and Jono's housemates brought a bunch of plants from a plant store that they have a connection to and stuff, and we kind of just decorated the stage and the venue with all this kind of vegetation to kind of fit the Gardens theme, and there was some fairy lights and stuff, and it was really beautiful. It was a really lovely way to kind of celebrate that last record in our hometown, and I think that would be mine.
Awesome.
For me, I think it was on that Gardens run as well, but it was one of the first dates that we did in Melbourne. We had 170 Russell, and that was like, I think it had been nearly like 2.5 years that those shows had been pushed back for all the COVID cancellations. I lost count of how many times those Melbourne dates got moved, and it was a bit nostalgic because the previous time that we'd been to Melbourne, the last time before that, we were there doing one of the bushfire fundraisers with Tones and I in that same venue. And then after 2.5 years, you know, we got bumped from the venue that we originally had booked to that one. And it was just a bit of a welcome back to Melbourne at the same venue. And it was just like a really great show and a really beautiful night. So I think that one for me, yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, it's always funny because you always get different answers from this. Some people tell some crazy shows that went horribly wrong that they wish that they could change. You know, just to really beautiful, reminiscent shows where they kind of go, this just had some really awesome sentimental value. So that's some really heartwarming picks there, gentlemen. I really enjoyed that actually. So, gentlemen, before I wrap this one up, is there anything else you guys would like to say before I wrap this one up?
Not particularly. Buy tickets to our tour and go listen to our new album out on October 28th called Overgrown. Yeah, we hope you like it. Send all complaints to skinny@sidequest.com.au. He's our manager, and he'll deal with it all personally.
I dare say after this interview, he might get a few requests for celery as well. So, you know, might be time to be talking to those Woolies guys, you know.
Oh, let's get a Woolies spono. We need that. That's a great idea, CJ. Thank you.
Yeah, great spono.
Yep, health, man, and it gives you good celery for the whole tour, man. So, you know, I'm glad we. Hopefully, the next time we talk, there'll be something in the works for that, gentlemen. So, look, thank you so much for your time, guys. Go pre-save and get everything ready to go because once it hits October 28th, these boys are hitting the road all around the country, and they're going to be bringing something else new to their live shows. So if you're a fan, if you're not a fan, doesn't matter. Pre-save it, listen to the album, buy some tickets to these guys because they are great people and a great band. So thank you so much for your time today, gentlemen. I genuinely appreciate it.
Thanks, CJ. It was a pleasure.
Not a worry, guys. And you've been listening to Heavy Magazine. Take care.